What is up, guys, gals, and non-binary pals? My name's Naomi. Welcome to House of Miscellania. Today I'm coming at you with a WIP and chat. WIP stands for work in progress. I am going to catch you up on a very uneventful week, and then we're going to do what we usually do and talk a little bit about some mental health stuff, okay? Now, you can treat this like a podcast if you'd like to, or you can grab out your own work in progress and work alongside me, whatever you like to do. But let us just get right into it and waste no time. I could tell you a little bit about my tools, but really there's nothing too special going on. I'm using my usual Black Wolf woodworking pen. This is just until I am able to get my own turned. I'll be talking about that, another update on that. I'm just using the old Diamond Art Club little tiny tray because I am working on a Josephine wall that's 200 colors, and there's really not much point to use anything larger than that. I'm using some Diamond Art Club sparkle sticky putty in my single and multi-placer, though there's not much multi-placer stuff going on with this. My straightening tool that I usually use, and a Diamond Art Club pair of tweezers. And that's pretty much it. I am working on the kit Peacock Days from the one with the diamond art. Here, I'll show you the artwork here. This is Peacock Days from the one with the diamond art. As I stated, it is 200 colors. The kit up took me 10 hours. And each square, which is a 10 centimeter by 10 centimeter square, takes me roughly 6 hours. So it takes a hot minute, I'll tell you. In fact, there is a specific symbol that I have been looking for probably, I don't know, a good minute here. And I still cannot find it. So hopefully I will, because there's a lot of those symbols, and I really want to cover that one. Oh my gosh. Oh man, I just spent another 3 minutes. I had to go through the colors one by one, and it's pink. I thought it was like a gray or a white. Thank God for this new color canvas from the one with the diamond art, because I'll tell you what, I would be completely lost without some idea on at least what color to look for. Anyways, so let me get adjusted here in my squeaky seat and catch you up on what's going on. There really hasn't been too much going on this week. Fairly uneventful. It's just been, you know, one of those nothing going on, and I am not mad about it kind of weeks. We didn't go anywhere too fun and interesting. I do have the part that I need for the lathe that came in at my in-laws' house today. So and today being Tuesday, and while you are watching this, I should be over there working on pens. 'Cause I've got a lot of blanks that I need to turn. I am really stoked about that, I have to tell you. I know that there's been a lot of eventful things going on in our community, but I'm not really ready to share my thoughts on that yet. There will likely come a time where I have decided that I feel comfortable talking about my opinions or thoughts on it, but it just now isn't that time. I do want to say, however, with absolute and utter conviction and with my full chest, that I am incredibly proud of Marissa over at Diamonds and Thoughts for speaking about what's going on in the community, and, sharing the information that she has, that she's received, that she has updated on everything. Thank you, because as I've stated, I'm not even ready to talk about my feelings on it yet, and I'm basically a nobody. You know what I mean? And I don't mean that in a self-deprecating kind of way. I just mean that in a, as far as things go, I'm really of no I'm really of no importance to anyone on the radar of things, exactly. So my opinion probably matters very little on it, but I do have a personal story to tell about it, and I'm not ready yet. I got my dog over here, Little Miss Sugar Pants, is on high alert about something, and so she's got Beans up looking at everything. She is such a crapster, I swear to God. But yeah, I'm just not ready to share my personal experiences yet. And maybe I will be, maybe I won't be. But neither here nor there. I am incredibly proud of you, Marissa, for sharing your truth, and, keeping your head in it and not being deterred, because regardless of what the topic is, literally regardless of what the topic is, the fact that you have said what you've said, and with your whole chest, like, seriously, seriously proud of you. That said, where this little, there it is. I wish I had really more to share. I mean, I keep up with the Dazzler community pretty much daily, and so most of you who are on the Discord already kind of know, like, what's been going on with my week and what's been happening. So, there's not too much to report. I do sometimes write things down when there has been something that's of note that, like, I kind of hold back and share later on, because I want to have something to talk about during my whip and chat. But there really just hasn't been much of anything. I'm trying to find my next color. Oh my gosh, this is probably the worst part. I will talk to you, actually, since it's right here and I'm working on it. I will talk to you about my experiences, my first experience with working with a large kit for the first time. Because that I do have, a perspective on. It's probably not a unique perspective, but it's a perspective nonetheless. This is my very first time working with a kit. One, from the one with the diamond dart. Two, that is a high color amount 200. And it's a good sized canvas. It's a 70 by 90 centimeters, and that is large when you're dealing with that volume of numbers for color. Now, there are obviously larger kits that you can get, but I probably would have been completely scared off by something bigger than this one, because this is intimidating enough as it is. Few things that I've learned along the way. One is I have not laid too many expectations onto what I am working on. I feel like if I was to try and set some very hard deadline with this kit, that I 100% will fail. I would get overwhelmed and discouraged, and I would just say, you know what, forget about it. I don't need to finish. I don't need to touch it anymore. And honestly, just full on give up. One thing that I have been doing that you aren't noticing as it's happening is I am pausing in between finding the next color, because honestly, I would have you sitting here like waiting all night for me to find the next color. I feel like as I'm going along and learning kind of the placement of where the colors are, it's getting a little bit easier as I go. But this is only my second square on this piece. I did set a loose goal for myself of getting this done in and around a year. Now, if that doesn't happen, I'm not going to stress about it. I'm not going to feel any type of certain way about that. I'm going to move on with my life and take as long as I take. So first thing I would recommend is time. Setting aside time. Now, it took me 10 hours to kit this up. Okay, now, I've heard a couple of people have said, you know, no way, hell no, there's no way I would ever even touch a kit that color count. I think, you know, I would have to say no thank you. You know, that doesn't sound fun to me, whatever. Totally fine, and you are entitled to that opinion if that is how you feel. I just don't want someone to watch what I've done or listen to my particular experiences and then use that as a reason not to ever try one. I'm not in any way upset with the time that this has taken me. I'm not in any way disappointed. I mean, it's going at the pace that I need it to go, and I am not flustering myself over that in particular, because as I stated, like, if I got myself all worked up over how long it's taking or whatever, like, forget about it. You would give up, and understandably you would give up. So first and foremost, with a kit like this that's high color count and a larger kit, because 70 by 90 is nothing to balk at, right? Number one, set aside time. Another thing that I would say is to be realistic in your goal setting, right? And that is like literally setting this kit up in bite-sized amounts. So I went through and I marked off the canvas in 10 by 10 centimeter squares with the goal of completing a square, maybe 2 squares if I can get to them, in each week. Now you figure if you take 70 by 90 and you section it off into 10 by 10, 7 by 9 is 63, and that means 63 10 centimeter squares for this piece that I have sectioned it off into. And so my goal then, doing 1 square a week, 2 if I can, if I'm like, really into it and I'm like, yeah, I want to do another square this week. Cool. Otherwise, fine. At 63 weeks, that puts me over a year, but not far over a year, not like into the 2 and 3 year mark. And that seems reasonable. I feel like I can do a square on this 1 a week and not be too overwhelmed. So setting a manageable goal, taking your time, number 1. Number 2, setting a manageable goal for yourself. Number 3, I would say that the next important thing when working with a high color kit like this is to honestly and fully temper your expectations. There might be certain things that you have become accustomed to when working with other kits that you might think are going to be just across the board experiences, and I learned very, very quickly that that's not the case. My speed under normal circumstances is like lightning fast. That is not possible with a kit where you are going to be returning to a color that you've missed over and over and over and over again. I have pulled this particular color, I think 3 or 4 times already, because you get an area done and then you're like, oh, there's one I missed. You get another area like filled in some, oh, there's another one I missed. It's gonna happen. And so that right there can lead to really heavy frustration if your normal expectation for working on kits is that you don't make mistakes and you work very rapidly. I learned incredibly quickly that I was just getting flustered and frustrated that my normal speed couldn't be maintained. Like I honestly had kind of set this expectation for myself, having worked on my Jaded Gem Shop mystery kit, that a square like this was going to take me 3 to 4 hours, because that's about what my Jaded Gem Shop took. Hell no, nowhere even near it. Like I said, I think it takes me roughly 6 hours to complete a square, just a 10 by 10. And at first that was like demoralizing to me because, like I said, I normally work at an incredibly fast pace, and it is just not possible with a kit of this many colors. My Jaded Gem Shop kit, of course, took me 3 hours, but I was doing release papers that are oh gosh, what size are those? They are, I think they're 2.5 by 4 inch, 2.5 by 4 inch squares, which is, as you can see, not quite large enough to fill this whole square. The width is correct at 4 inches, but you know, it's not all the way down. This is 2.5 inches. This is 4 inches side to side and 4 inches top to bottom. Like, okay. So we're taking our time. We are setting reasonable expectations, and then we are taking it really really slowly so as not to get frustrated. And see, I just put those away, and now I saw one that I missed. So boop, we go spear fishing, right, to grab a diamond and place the diamond where I just noticed that it goes. And that is something that I have kind of just learned to giggle at a little bit. Like, if I don't laugh, I'll cry, right? And as much as I thought I was going to hate this, I actually did not. I have not. So I do have to say that, like, this would be something that you are going to challenge yourself with. It's something that you are going to use as a way to finish. And when you do, the sense of pride that I'm going to have when I get this done finally will be so massive. I feel accomplished each time I finish a square, just because of the difficulty of a piece like this, with this many colors, with this much going on. I feel accomplished after a square. So it really is about, in my opinion, taking the little victory and using that as your springboard into your next square. So, you know, taking it slow, tempering your expectations, setting goals, and then really, truly, and honestly, like, celebrate your victories, even the small ones. It will keep you sane and moving along with a kit this size. And it's also about not allowing yourself to get too discouraged to continue. There have been times where it has been incredibly challenging and frustrating to go back and back and back and back and pull a color I pulled and pull a color I pulled. But it is really just very, very important that I take those little victories and I kind of move on with it, because I could get hung up on the details of this for hours and hours. I could get hung up on details. And because I'm not allowing that for myself, it's been a much more pleasant experience. Now you saw I was able to pull a color pretty quickly because I remembered where this color was. And yeah, 200 is a lot of colors to memorize location on, but eventually you get there. You get to a point where you start to remember, like, oh, I know this symbol. Okay, I remember in my brain where that's going to be. You remember the part that I was talking about setting goals? You have to, overall as well, kind of have a game plan going in on how you're going to tackle a piece like this when it comes to kit up, when it comes to working. So like that setting goals kind of goes along with having a game plan, because eventually I'll get to the point where I remember where stuff is, but in the meantime, I really, really have to focus. That was the next thing that I was going to talk about. I have told myself multiple times now, you know, not to use this for lives. I figured out very quickly that I cannot do this one during a live stream, just based on the difficulty of the piece, because it really does take up your full brain and attention to work a piece like this. It is not something that, you know, you can do a lot of, whoop, you can do a lot of visiting or chatting on, because you're gonna get lost in the piece. Like, you're gonna have issues. So when you're working a large piece like this, you need to set aside that you time so that you can really focus on what you're doing, what you're laying down. Now, if you make a mistake, there might be times where you don't even see it. Like, it's not highly obvious because a color blends so well with the color that was supposed to go there that it doesn't super matter. But obviously, like, I'm laying dark drills right now. And if I were to do that in the wrong spot, it might be glaringly obvious once I am away from this at viewing distance. Which brings me actually into another point that I wanted to try and make, which is, this is a piece that up close, you're going to look at it and you're going to go, what in the fresh hell am I looking at? Like, none of this makes any sense. It doesn't look good. It's really pixelated garbage. You can convince your brain that this thing is not worth continuing pretty much before you've really even gotten anywhere. What I would encourage you to do is, one, to either take a picture of it with your phone or camera, whatever you use to take pictures, and then look at it through your viewfinder on your phone. You will see that what looks like a jumbled up garbage mess on, you know, in person, when you're looking at it through the viewfinder on your phone or whatever, the experience is very different. My favorite thing is to pause sometimes and, you know, I don't have to like fully stop necessarily, but I like to have my phone going, whether I'm recording or whatever. I like to just pause for a minute, take a look through, like, on the picture that I'm seeing on the screen, and then what I'm seeing here starts to take shape. Here in front of me, it's just colors. It's just bleh, colors, right? But when I actually look through at a picture of it or recording, it looks far more impressive. And so I would like to tell you, take a minute, look at it through a camera's lens, which is more what you would consider to be viewing distance, and see what you think of it then. Because yes, it's gonna look like a pixelated mess when you're a foot off of it with your face. But when you are standing back, admiring it from, you know, 5 or 6 feet, whatever viewing distance looks good to you, you're gonna find that the piece is just exquisite. It looks amazing, far more amazing than it does with my face basically in it, looking at it, right? So definitely stop for a minute, look at it through a viewfinder, and see what your viewfinder's eye sees, because it will likely, almost assuredly, look different than what you had imagined sitting here right in front of you in the raw with your face 5 feet away from it. I think that the next thing that I would recommend, honestly, truly, is the importance, especially with this sort of a kit, in taking breaks. One, you could suffer some eye strain because of all of the, like, essentially studying up close that you're going to do of this specimen that we know as a diamond painting. It did wonders for me to make sure that about every hour, maybe 2 hours, that I am stopping, getting up, you know, going for a walk, stretching my legs, getting out of the house entirely. There's this rule that somebody was telling me during my 24-hour live to kind of prevent eye strain. And someone mentioned that you should, every 20 minutes, I think it was, look at least 20 feet away, and for 20 full seconds. So 20, 20, and 20. It's bad for your eyes to try to strain them to look at these diamond paintings, and it's hard on your body to sit stagnant, excuse me, for that length of time. Like I said, I get all the way up. I get out of my house, I go for a walk, I go around a few blocks, and then I come back and I sit down. One, I'm a little bit scared of a fat ass, I'm not gonna lie, from basically just sitting in a chair all day and working on diamond paintings. So it is imperative to me that I do not end up with flabby booty and that I get up and move around. It does wonders for the body. And then I'm gonna say the last bit of advice that I would give on a painting like this is to challenge yourself. Okay, maybe you don't want to go as far as a 200 color painting, and that's fine. That is just fine. Maybe you want to go with something 100 colors or whatever the case may be. But I do challenge you to challenge yourself, and that can't do attitude that some people have, and just tell yourself, yes, you can. You're going to take it one bite at a time. The same way that you eat an elephant is one bite at a time, and then go from there. I feel like if you don't lay so many expectations on yourself, that you'll enjoy the process a whole lot more. Let's put it that way. Anyway, I wanted to read out of our Fairies Oracle cards, Healing with the Fairies Oracle cards, and read you the top one. I've already shuffled it. I'll show you a little video of me shuffling the cards. Managed to keep them all together without spilling any. Yay. I want to read you the Healing with the Fairies Oracle card and give you your kind of thought for the week, and my thought for the week, on just what it has to do with mental health, something to, you know, hitting stuff, something to, you know, kind of propel you into this upcoming week and keep you sustained until we meet again. So let me go ahead and check out what our top card is, since I have already shuffled. I showed you that video. Let's take a look and see what we have. I'm going to take the top card here. Stand your ground. Look at her. She is lovely. I love that card. Okay, stand your ground. Let's see what it says about, I gotta be close. There we go. Card meaning. The fairies ask you to make decisions based upon your honest feelings. Stick to these decisions and don't allow outside influences to cause you to waver. When you're really honest with yourself, you know what your desires are. Yet other people may be pressuring you to betray your true feelings. This card signifies that your original decision is valid and that you mustn't let outside influences sway you. Don't allow your own needs to be compromised. Don't be afraid to tell others how you feel. You'll probably find that when you when you speak your truth, new solutions become apparent, and that allows for win-win situations. As soon as others are aware of your true desires, they will help you find a way to manifest them without compromising their own needs. Everyone will feel happier as a result. Even more important, your self-confidence will increase as you take care of yourself, and others will respect you for standing your ground. It says, affirmation, I speak my truth powerfully and longingly. I trust in my strong feelings and stand my ground in following them. I love the idea of speaking your truth powerfully and lovingly. You don't have to be a dick when you're talking to people, when you're standing your ground, right? About whatever it happens to be. And this is an interesting card to get now, when there are people out there, as we speak, standing their ground on all sorts of things. Right now, the world is awash with fears of politics, fears of religious persecution, fears of just general non-acceptance. I mean, so many things. So many things. And standing your ground, to me, and how I view it, is, again, like I said earlier, if you're gonna say something, say it with your whole chest. There's this TikTok expression that I heard called standing on business. I love that expression. Love that expression as a way to say what you mean and mean what you say. Otherwise, you're out blowing hot air at people. One positive that I have seen is that people, especially nowadays, are not afraid to stand for something. You know, there's that expression, if you fall, or if you don't stand for anything, you'll fall for everything. So freaking true. We all have to stand on our convictions. We all need to be mindful that while we have our convictions, other people's may differ from our own. It doesn't make them wrong. It makes them different. Just because one person would absolutely stand up and, stand strong for the little guy and put their whole everything out there, and others who are a little more stealthy about how they talk about things, or perhaps it's all in code, the way that they speak with their friends, but they don't speak their truth out in public. Man, that drives me nuts. I want people to be their full, true, authentic selves and to not be afraid of repercussions from doing so, or to be picked on, made fun of, shamed, whatever. And I gotta say, like, I've seen a whole lot in the last 40, almost 44 years of my life, and I'm going to be who I'm going to be regardless of what people might or might not like. It's just who I am authentically at all times. And unfortunately, that's not likely to change as I get older, right? I want people to feel safe enough that if there is something that they feel incredibly strongly about, that they should be able to speak their truth on that matter and not fear repercussion or maltreatment from other people because of it. It's hard enough getting along in this world when we have these differences that set us so far apart, and they're really just, I don't want to say dumb things because they're important topics, but they're in the scheme of things, it's like, what does it matter what your neighbor believes in for a deity? Is it going to change your life at all? No. What does it matter what your neighbor thinks or feels about really sensitive topics like the death penalty, or how much should go out in taxes, or that sounded like I said Texas. How much should be paid in for taxes, or who to vote for politically? Let them be themselves. You be you and they can be them, and you can have a frank and refreshing conversation about it without having to bend to the other person's idea about what they believe in. They can stand their ground and you can stand your ground, and be respectful of each other. Just because their opinion is different from yours doesn't make them wrong. And just because your opinion is different from theirs does not make you right. It doesn't. Now, some benefits, right, to standing your ground. Because there are benefits to standing your ground for your own mental health, all right? One, you're going to build some self-confidence. You are bound to feel more confident in yourself if you can stand resolute in the way that you feel and not to bend on it. Nothing wrong with having some self-confidence and feeling how you feel about something and telling people how you feel about that something. There is nothing wrong with that at all. And I think that with more self-confidence comes just a boost, right? To your overall sense of well-being. You're going to have some more self-respect. And self-respect is respect that you get for your damn self, right? Like, you can feel good about your decisions, right or wrong, because sometimes you're going to be wrong, and confident in yourself, but you'll still be wrong. It happens, right? However, you reinforce your own self-worth when you stand up for your own beliefs. That can give you a stronger sense of identity, and in turn, that could reduce depression if you've got depression. Nothing wrong with that in the least. Nothing that I can think of anyways. You can, by standing your ground, you can really live and breathe in your, ooh, that's pink, in your authentic self. You can live in alignment with your true values and your beliefs, and regardless of what others think or say, you can stand on your principles and your morals. Now, morals are very subjective, right? One person's moral compass might lean one direction or another on a topic. Again, it doesn't necessarily make them wrong. It just makes their opinions different than yours. But you can increase a lot about your life satisfaction by just living your truth, being your authentic self. Also, standing your ground means setting some freaking boundaries. I am a serial caver. I really am. I will say no, somebody will give me the doe eyes, and then I feel compelled to change my mind because I feel bad. I feel like I'm, denying someone something that they really need or something that they really want, and then I feel like a jerk. And I need to stand my ground on that stuff sometimes, because it really is really important that I don't allow myself to become a freaking doormat. And oftentimes in my life, I have. I think that by setting and keeping those boundaries, that you can really protect your own personal space. And that can mean emotional personal space. It can mean actual physical personal space. But it is wildly important that you set those boundaries so that you have some sense of self, right? You can also really improve your relationships by standing your ground, because your friends can see, oh, hey, they're not a doormat. I can't just walk all over them. They'll treat you better, which will improve your relationship with them. Friendships, romances, whatever. Standing your ground doesn't have to be a bad thing. I mean, obviously, we need to be like the willow, right? So that you can bend and not break. But that doesn't mean that the willow falls over every time there's a windstorm. It just means that the willow bends. And it isn't a full bending, a full snapping. It's a mutual understanding and a trust. Also, it fosters your independence to stand your ground. You can make better decisions when you stand your ground, because it gives you clarity and conviction. It can motivate you to be better, to live better, to really and truly be your total authentic self. That's who people want to know. They don't want to know this shell of a person that you pretend to be, that you present to the world. They don't care about that person. They care about a person who's going to stand on their convictions and to be their authentic self. It's just, I can't say it enough. I really, really can't. By standing your ground, you will cultivate an inner peace. You will find a center and zen when you find a way to respectfully and clearly stand your ground and set your boundaries. What's really important to note is that you do not have control over what anyone else says or does. You only have control over the way that you react to what they say or do to you. And no one can do anything to you without your express permission. If you don't like what someone is saying, you set boundaries and you back them off. If they can't respect those boundaries, then that might not be the best person for you to share your time with. If they're relentless in their pursuit of you and you bend and you break, they're going to know that every time they push you harder, that they're going to get you to bend. So if you do it for no one else, not even yourself, you are going to do yourself a major disservice and cause yourself to feel very useless if you can't stand your ground on the things that really, really matter to you. You know, as I've mentioned before, I've been a people pleaser for a long stretch of my life. It's a hard habit to break, but I'm finally getting there. Now, do I need to set better boundaries? Yes, I do. I feel like everybody can learn from this. Not just some random YouTuber on the internet, right? Anybody can. And anybody would benefit from it. So I encourage you to be your authentic self and stand your ground today. Remember that, and this one took me a long time, this particular standing my ground situation, and it's a very simple thing. I didn't know it for a really long time, and I had to be taught, but no is a complete sentence. I hope that whatever you've got going on in your life today, that you can feel emboldened to be your authentic self, to stand your ground, to really take ownership. Take ownership of you and your own life. Because you deserve it. Everyone does. I thank you guys for sticking around with me throughout my WIP and chat. I hope what I said made sense. It's really late/early, and I'm really, really sleepy. I hope that you'll like this video, leave me a comment, subscribe if you like subscribing to things and you want to be notified when I make new content. But thank you guys. Always thank you. I hope that wherever you are in this great, big, beautiful world, that you are having a wonderful morning, evening, or afternoon, whatever time it is, wherever you are. Thank you again so much, and I'll talk to you again soon. All right. Bye, guys.